Rush Limbaugh made news and apparently lost a bundle of advertising revenue in a tirade against a Democratic congressional hearing on federally mandated contraception coverage and insurance plans.
What does it say about the college co-ed Susan Fluke, who goes before a congressional committee and essentially says that she must be paid to have sex? What does that make her? It makes her a slut, right? Makes her a prostitute. She wants to be paid to have sex.
Limbaugh's rude comments provoked a perpetual shriek on the political left that has yet to abate. Limbaugh later apologized for the comments, not that the ungracious left would ever accept them, but the issue is really about a major assault on the freedom of exercise of religion by the federal government. Fluke had testified in the week before Limbaugh's comments that the law school she was attending, Catholic Georgetown University, should be forced by federal regulations to pay for her birth control pills.
Without insurance coverage, contraception, as you know, can cost a woman over $3,000 during law school. For a lot of students who, like me, are on public interest scholarships, that's practically an entire summer's salary. 40% of the female students at Georgetown Law reported to us that they struggled financially as a result of this policy. One told us of how embarrassed and just powerless she felt when she was standing at the pharmacy counter and learned for the first time that contraception was not covered on her insurance, and she had to turn and walk away because she couldn't afford that prescription. Women like her have no choice but to go without contraception.
There are a host of falsehoods in that statement, and the second most important is that she far overestimated the cost of birth control. Even Planned Parenthood advertises that birth control pills cost as little as $25 a month. Walmart and Target have charged just $9 per month for birth control pills since 2007. If Fluke really expects to spend $3,000 during her time in law school, she's not just a poor bargain hunter, she's likely on the 7-year plan for the ordinary 3 years of law school. Fluke painted the battle as one where women are being forced to go without needed care.
Clinics are closing and women are being forced to go without the medical care they need.
Need? Really? Birth control pills, except in some rare instances, such as endometriosis, are elective medicine akin to cosmetic surgery or tattooing. Of course, birth control does not cost as much as these other elective procedures, and in fact costs less than a dinner for two at a fast food restaurant, or a case of beer for a typical college weekend party. Fluke painted the plight of college students as one where they are oppressed by the Catholic University for not subsidizing their lifestyle choice.
When you let university administrators or other employers, rather than women and their doctors, dictate whose medical needs are legitimate and whose are not, a woman's health takes a back seat to a bureaucracy focused on policing her body.
Not even one university bean counter is stopping women from going to Walmart to buy birth control pills, nor will anyone ever. But Fluke is seeking to get bureaucrats to force Catholic institutions to pay for artificial birth control against the Church's religious principles. The issue is not denying women the ability to spend $9 per month for birth control, but rather, who should have to pay for it? The women who choose to use them, or the religious institutions that do not believe in their use? Fluke's testimony before the Democrats in Congress was bereft of any mention of the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which begins, quote, "Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof." Americans have traditionally given wide latitude to religious beliefs and practice, even when those beliefs and practices conflicted with vital national interests. Consider the case of conscientious objectors to military service by Jehovah's Witnesses during the Second World War. In the United States, this opposition to the most basic purpose of government was tolerated, even respected. However, in Nazi Germany, this same erroneous but principled stand toward pacifism led to the execution of Jehovah's Witnesses in the Holocaust. The American sentiment toward conscientious objectors during World War II was in accord with the Founding Fathers, such as James Madison, who wrote in his Memorial and Remonstrance that that we hold it for a fundamental and deniable truth that religion, or the duty to which we owe our Creator, and the manner of discharging it, can be directed only by reason and conviction, not by force or violence. The religion, then, of every man must be left to the conviction and conscience of every man, and it is the right of every man to exercise it as these may dictate. Madison even noted that government was not authorized to tell religious institutions what to do in his memorial and remonstrance. Religion be exempt from the authority of the society at large. Still less can it be subject to that of the legislative body. Memorial and remonstrance was a document nominally written in favor of disestablishment of the Virginia State Church, but its real purpose was to stop government bullying of religious minorities. The policy proposed by President Obama and championed by Fluke would reverse this long-standing American policy, a policy later mandated by the First Amendment, and it would overturn that policy for a small and inexpensive item. They don't even have a grand excuse, such as saving the nation, that we had during World War II. And that's part of the political problem. Some may excuse impinging upon religious freedoms in this case because they do not believe it is a big imposition on the Catholic Church, or perhaps because they disagree with the Catholic Church's view with respect to artificial birth control. But Madison had a response for those who would use the power of government to repress religious expression in one instance, however slight. In Memorial and Remonstrance, he said, "It is proper to take alarm at the first experiment on our liberties. We hold this prudent jealousy to be the first duty of citizens, and one of the noblest characteristics of the late Revolution. The free men of America did not wait until usurped power had strengthened itself by exercise and entangled the question in precedents. They saw all the consequences in the principle, and they avoided the consequences by denying the principle. We revere this lesson too much soon to forget it." In the case of the Fluke-Obama plan, this is just the camel's nose under the tent. Fluke has already published in the Georgetown Legal Journal that employers should be required to pay for sex change operations. She wrote, quote, "Transgendered persons wishing to undergo the gender reassignment process frequently face heterosexist employer health insurance policies that label the surgery as cosmetic or medically unnecessary and therefore uncovered. The list of things that can be foisted upon churches once this precedent is set is almost unlimited. Abortions are also on the docket. It's not just about the Catholic Church and contraception. But on February 10th, President Obama came up with what he called a compromise on the issue of mandating religious employers in paying for contraceptives.
Today, we've reached a decision on how to move forward. Under the rule, women will still have access to free preventive care that includes contraceptive services, no matter where they work. So that core principle remains. But if a woman's employer is a charity or a hospital that has a religious objection to providing contraceptive services as part of their health plan, the insurance company, not the hospital, not the charity, will be required to reach out and offer the woman contraceptive care free of charge, without copays and without hassles. The result will be that religious organizations won't have to pay for these services, and no religious institution will have to provide these services directly.
In reality, this was a sham. Which insurance company will pay for these contraceptives allegedly for free? Only the ones the religious institutions are paying. It's not as if the insurance companies are just going to start buying contraceptives for non-customers for nothing. They're not. They're going to charge the religious institutions more in order to make up the difference in additional contraceptive costs. So Obama's policy was a bold-faced lie and a cover-up. Religious institutions will still be forced to pick up the tab. Sandra Fluke and the Obama White House that first proposed this legal requirement don't respect the Catholic religion. Respect implies that you let people live their lives as they choose, rather than have the government initiate force against Catholic institutions. The left today basically says it's okay for a person to believe in a religion so long as when they walk outside of the church doors, they live their lives as if they don't believe in the religion. Of course, this is not free exercise of religion protected by the First Amendment at all. Obama's rule should be struck down by the courts, and it should be opposed by every patriotic American, regardless of what they think about contraceptives and the Catholic Church.